My name's Mike. I'm 28. And until pretty recently, I thought my family was, your standard brand of dysfunctional. If you'd asked me just a month ago, I probably would have described them as mildly chaotic, but nothing too out of the ordinary. We had the usual passive-aggressive jabs tossed across the Thanksgiving table, the occasional guilt trip disguised as love. Typical stuff. My mom has always made it crystal clear that my younger sister, Karen, is the favorite, and my dad? He's mastered the art of being blissfully oblivious. Honestly, I found annoying, sure, but not soul-crushing or anything. That was, of course, before Karen's wedding happened. That day changed everything for me. It was like someone peeled back the curtain and handed me a front row seat to the play called Here's Where You Actually Rank in This Family. And spoiler alert, I'm not the lead in this production. Let me give you a bit of context. Karen's 25, and saying she's been treated like royalty since birth is honestly kind of an understatement. Picture this. She threw a full-blown tantrum when she was 16 because I got a used car, and she demanded a brand new one for her 16th birthday. And wouldn't you know it? She got it. No hesitation. She's always been the golden child. The family's little princess, the one who could burn down the house and somehow get a gold star for it, me. I was the responsible older sibling. My job was to set a good example, which basically translated to do everything right and enjoy your invisible reward. If I brought home an A-, Mom would purse her lips and say, "You're capable of more, Mike." But if Karen dragged in a C-, you'd think she just cured cancer. There'd be balloons, cake, maybe even a parade. So yeah, going into Karen's wedding, I knew the spotlight wasn't going to be on me. Obviously, I was just hoping to smile in the pictures, say the right things, and make it through the day without any major drama. But what I didn't see coming, what I never could have prepared for, was just how far they'd go to remind me where I really stand in this family. The red flag started early. First, I found out I wasn't part of the wedding party. Okay, not everyone includes their siblings, I get that. I told myself, it's fine, it's her day. But then I learned who was in the wedding party. Karen's childhood best friend, expected. Her coworker, less expected. And her fiancé's cousin's girlfriend, a woman I've met once. That one stung. Still, I tried to stay chill. Maybe she was just trying to mix it up, keep things interesting. Then came the seating chart. Now, I wasn't expecting to be at the head table. That's reserved for the couple and their entourage, but I assumed I'd at least be seated with our family. The people who share my DNA and most of my childhood memories. Wrong. When I arrived at the venue and picked up my place card, I noticed something strange. My name wasn't listed anywhere near my parents, or our aunts and uncles, or even the cousins I barely tolerate. In fact, I couldn't find my name on the seating chart at all. I had to track someone down and ask where I was supposed to sit. A wedding planner checked her clipboard, gave me the most painfully tight-lipped smile I've ever seen, and said, "Oh, Mike, you're, right here." She pointed, and that's when I saw it. My assigned seat wasn't in the grand ballroom, the one dripping in chandeliers and elegant floral arrangements. Nope, my spot was outside, as in literally out in the hallway next to the coat rack. At first, I laughed. I genuinely thought it was a mistake, like maybe someone shuffled things last minute and just hadn't gotten around to fixing the chart. But no, that was my seat, one sad little table, alone in the hallway, accompanied only by the faint aroma of mothballs and winter jackets. I turned to the planner, still smiling in that my brain refuses to accept this as reality kind of way, and asked, "You're kidding, right?" She looked like she wished she could disappear into the carpet. "I'm really sorry," she said, "but this is where you've been assigned." Assigned, like I was being handed my prison bunk for the evening. Honestly, I wasn't even angry at that point. I was just confused, like, is this a joke? Some weird wedding tradition I'd never heard of? I needed answers, and I knew exactly who to go to. I found Karen near the bridal suite, glowing with that unmistakable, "I'm the bride, and this is my kingdom" energy. She was surrounded by her friends, while our mom hovered close by, fussing over the hem of her dress. Karen spotted me approaching and flashed me the fakest smile imaginable. "Oh, hey, you made it." I held out my place card. "Yeah, quick question. Why is my seat not in the reception hall?" She blinked, then actually giggled. "Oh, yeah. We had to move a few things around last minute." "Uh-huh. And I just happened to be the one who got bumped? To the hallway?" She shrugged like it was no big deal. "I mean, yeah. We had to prioritize close family at the main tables." I stared at her. I am close family. That's when our mom, who'd been pretending not to eavesdrop, chimed in with her signature syrupy tone. "Now, Mike, let's not cause a scene. This is Karen's special day." I'm not making a scene. I'm just trying to understand why I'm literally sitting next to the Coates. And then Karen dropped the line, the one that officially turned this day from mildly insulting to straight up devastating. Well, you're kind of not really immediate family anymore. I stared at her, trying to process what I just heard. Excuse me. She gave another one of those lazy shrugs and adjusted her veil, clearly more interested in how she looked than the conversation. You moved out years ago, you're not around that much, and like you're not married or anything, it's just different now. There's no easy way to explain what I felt in that moment. It wasn't just anger. It was deeper than that, heavier, like someone had quietly closed a door behind me that I didn't even know was being shut. I wasn't immediate family anymore because I dared to grow up and live my own life. Because I wasn't married, I didn't even get the chance to respond before another voice broke into the moment. And that's when I saw her, Karen's mother-in-law. I hadn't really spent much time around her before that day. Karen's new mother-in-law, but the moment she walked up to me, I knew exactly what type I was dealing with. She had that smug glint in her eye, the kind of person who lives for chaos, who drinks drama like morning coffee, and stirs the pot just to see who'll boil over first. She gave me a once-over and smirked. Oh, you're Mike? I was wondering who that random seat was for. I forced a polite smile that probably looked more like a grimace. Yep, that's me, the sibling who, apparently, no longer qualifies as part of the family. Her chuckle was low and laced with mock sympathy, like she enjoyed every second of my discomfort. Well, you know how weddings are. Only the most important guests get the prime seating. And just like that, it clicked. This wasn't some innocent oversight. This wasn't a last-minute shuffle. This whole thing, it was intentional, and she was clearly enjoying it. That realization hit me like a switch flipping inside my chest. I went from confused and hurt to icy calm because now I understood this wasn't just Karen being careless. This was a group effort. And if that's how they wanted to play it, fine. But they must have forgotten. I grew up with Karen. I knew the skeletons in her closet, the shady things she'd muttered when no one else was listening, and the biggest one, she couldn't stand her new mother-in-law. Oh sure, she'd smiled to her face, played the sweet bride-to-be role like a pro. But behind closed doors? Let's just say it was a different story. And right now, I had an audience. I turned to the mother-in-law. Karen, I think her name, was putting on my most saccharine, wide-eyed expression. You know, it's funny, I said casually. Just the other day, Karen was so stressed about the seating chart. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Karen's hand freeze midair as she examined her nails. Her posture stiffened instantly. Karen raised an eyebrow. Oh. I nodded, keeping my tone light, like we were two friends gossiping over brunch. Yeah, she kept going on about how she really didn't want certain people seated too close to the head table. I let that hang for a beat, then leaned in slightly, like I was about to spill a juicy secret. Something about not wanting the photos ruined by... I paused, pretending to struggle for the memory, then turned to Karen with a head tilt. What was it again? Oh, right, questionable fashion choices. And just like that, the mood shifted. Karen's smirk vanished. Excuse me? Karen's face went pale. Hey, Mike. But I wasn't finished. And remember the speech drama? I continued, ignoring Karen's attempt to interrupt. You were seriously freaking out about who might say what. I gave Karen a long look. Didn't you say, if she gives a speech, I swear I'll lose my mind? Something about how she always tries to make everything about herself. Karen let out a strangled little sound, her hand reaching for my arm. Can I talk to you? Privately. I took a deliberate step back and blinked at her, feigning confusion. Why? I thought this wasn't a private thing, since I'm not considered immediate family anymore. I figured I'd try to be part of the group. That did it. Karen turned sharply toward Karen, her expression darkening. Is that true? Karen let out a weak laugh, waving her hands like she could somehow fan the truth away. No, of course not. Mike is just... Oh, and we cannot forget the bachelorette party. I cut in, pretending to slap my forehead like I'd just remembered something important. Karen mouthed, don't, but I turned back to Karen, the innocent look firmly in place. You know, the night Karen spent venting about how exhausting it was to keep up the act, said she was counting down the days until she didn't have to fake being nice to you anymore. Said she was just putting up with you to avoid drama before the wedding. That was the kill shot. Karen's mouth opened, then closed again like she couldn't quite believe what she was hearing. My mom, who'd been standing nearby, awkwardly trying to blend into the wallpaper, looked like someone had just slapped her with a baguette. My dad, who until that very moment had no idea a single thing was going on. I actually stepped back, clearly trying to escape the blast zone. Meanwhile, Karen's bridesmaids were whispering, glancing at each other like this was better than the open bar. And Karen? She looked like she was about to spontaneously combust. Her mouth was moving, but nothing was coming out. Then Karen exploded. "You ungrateful little brat." And let me tell you, I had to bite the inside of my cheek to keep from grinning because, oh man, this was about to get good. "You think you can just use me?" Karen's voice was sharp, accusing. "After everything I've done, the money I poured into this wedding, the favors I called in, and you've been trashing me behind my back the whole time." Karen sputtered, "I didn't." Karen turned to my parents, eyes blazing. "You knew about this? You raised her to be this kind of manipulative, entitled little snake." My mom looked like she might pass out. "Of course not. Karen would never." "Oh, don't even try," I said, cutting in. "You knew, you've always known, you just didn't care." I sighed dramatically, shaking my head like a disappointed teacher. "I mean, you raised her to believe she's the center of the universe. Honestly, it's no surprise she started treating everyone else like extras in her little royal wedding." My mom's expression twisted into something between rage and regret. "Mike, stop this." I folded my arms. "Why? Because I'm causing a scene now? Huh. Funny how it only matters when I'm the one talking. It didn't seem to bother you when Karen had me shoved out of the reception, like some embarrassing distant cousin instead of your actual child." By now, all eyes were on us. Conversations had stopped. Forks hovered midair. People were definitely staring. And honestly, good. The whispers were louder now. Not even pretending to be discreet. Heads were turning. Eyes darted. Phones were probably already out on our tables. Screens dimmed. Fingers flying. Even the groom, who'd been mysteriously absent for the first act of this mess, finally wandered over. Brows furrowed like he'd just smelled something weird. "Oh, what's going on?" Karen didn't miss a beat. She spun toward him like a hurricane, changing direction. "What's going on is that your wife is a backstabbing little brat who's been insulting my family for months." The groom blinked, still trying to boot up. "Wait, what?" "She's been running her mouth," Karen snapped, jabbing a finger at Karen like she was hitting a buzzer. "About my dress, my speech, my existence. Said she's just tolerating me until she can finally cut me out." He turned to Karen, eyes narrowing. "Did you actually say that?" Karen's head shook so fast it looked mechanical. "No. I mean, well, not exactly like that." Karen let out a sharp, bitter laugh. "Oh, not exactly like that? Right. And I guess I'm just imagining all the things you said behind my back while you smiled in my face." Just like that, it went nuclear. Karen and Karen were snapping at each other, voices rising like competing sirens. My mom was flapping her hands and hissing for everyone to calm down, which obviously wasn't working. My dad looked like he wanted to walk directly into the sea. The groom was stuck somewhere between shocked and mortified, rubbing his forehead like this was all giving him a migraine. Honestly, it probably was. I, meanwhile, just stood off to the side, sipping champagne like I was watching a very expensive, very dramatic soap opera. And the best part? I wasn't even done yet. Karen's voice was getting shrill, her hands waving like she was trying to land a plane. "You believe her over me?" she shrieked, pointing in my direction like I was the villain in a telenovela. Her husband looked like he wanted to disappear. "I don't know what to think," he muttered. "Karen, is this for real?" Karen crossed her arms, tight. "Oh, it's real. Your perfect bride has been faking her way through this whole relationship." Karen started to sputter. "I know. It was taken out of context." I arched an eyebrow. The classic defense. I tilted my head, slipped into a mocking whine. "Oh no, I was just joking. You're taking it the wrong way." I made exaggerated air quotes. "No, I didn't mean it like that." My voice dropped flat again. "Come on, Karen. Give it up. You got caught. And let's be honest. If I hadn't said anything, you still wouldn't care. You'd still be smiling and scheming and playing sweet little bride." Karen, vibrating with rage, turned toward my parents. "And you're okay with this?" My mom looked like she was about to throw up. We don't condone." "Oh, cut it," I said, waving her off. "You knew, you've always known, you just didn't care as long as she looked like the golden child from the outside." I clicked my tongue. "Guess it's all about appearances, huh?" And then Karen just snapped. "You're ruining my wedding, Mike." I did a slow, theatrical look around the room. Guests were staring. A waiter had literally stopped mid-step, holding a tray like it might explode. "Oh, I'm ruining it?" I asked, my voice dripping with fake innocence. Didn't realize I was the one trashing family members and talking behind people's backs, my bad. I turned to the crowd. What do you guys think? Who's really at fault here? A few people awkwardly looked away, refusing to engage, but then one of the bridesmaids leaned in to whisper something to the woman beside her. That woman? She laughed out loud. Karen's head whipped around like she'd heard a gunshot. You think this is funny? She hissed. The bridesmaid shrugged, fighting a smile. I mean, kinda. Chef Esquisse. Karen's hands curled into fists. Shaking, I could see the meltdown coming, but honestly, I was bored now. The energy had peaked. The spotlight was mine. Time for the grand finale. I let out a dramatic sigh, clutching my champagne like a farewell prop. Well, this has been delightful. Really, a beautiful ceremony, a touching exchange of insults, but I think it's time I made my exit. Karen sneered, fine, go. I grinned. Oh, don't worry, I will. Then I turned, nice and slow, and let my eyes land on the gift table, the elegant pile of presents stacked with care and bows and pretentious little monograms. And there it was, my gift, the one I'd spent actual time and actual money picking out, the one that came from the heart. I walked over like I was browsing a boutique, plucked it off the table with one hand, and turned back just as Karen's eyes went wide. Mike, no. I hugged the box on my chest. What? You think I'm leaving this behind? Please, I'm not real family, remember? I gasped theatrically. Oh no. What if I contaminated it with my non-immediate fam germs? Wouldn't want to taint your precious marriage with my unworthy DNA. Her face turned a shade of red that probably had a name like Inferno Scarlet. You're such a child, she spat. I shrugged, box still under my arm. Maybe, but at least I'm not a fake, lying, two-faced brat who smiles to people's faces while trashing them behind their backs. Then I turned to Karen, gave her a little salute. Hey, Karen, good luck with this one. I give a year. To my eternal satisfaction, she laughed a real, sharp, slightly unhinged laugh. Karen let out an actual screech. I didn't wait for an encore. I spun on my heel, gift in hand, and walked toward the exit behind me. Chaos, stunned silence, whispers, the sound of Karen losing whatever was left of her mind. Honestly, best wedding I've ever been to. But Karen, being Karen, had panicked. Tried to lie, tried to cry, tried to play innocent. And it didn't work. According to my dad, Karen wasn't having it. Not after months of bottled-up tension and fake smiles. She lit into her like a woman possessed, dragging every snide comment, every backhanded compliment, every whispered insult into the daylight. She called you a charity case. Karen reportedly snapped, loud enough for guests to hear, said you were only here because it would look bad if you weren't. And that was the nail in the coffin. The room, apparently, had gone ice cold. Half the guests left early. The other half stayed, but not out of loyalty, out of morbid curiosity. Because let's be honest, once a wedding turns into a public reckoning, nobody wants to miss the third act. Karen had tried to salvage it, smiling through tears, clinging to her new husband like he was some kind of emotional flotation device. But he looked checked out, like he just realized he married a cardboard cutout wrapped in designer lace. He didn't defend her, my dad said, sounding almost impressed. He just stood there like he didn't recognize her. I sipped my coffee, savoring every word. So what happened after that? Dad exhaled slowly. She stormed out, locking herself in the bridal suite. Your mom chased after her. The photographer left. DJ packed up early. People were whispering on their way out. A beat passed, then it was a mess. I smiled, so it's over? Define over, he muttered. Your mother's pretending it didn't happen. Karen's gone full ghost mode, and Karen hasn't returned a single message. I leaned back, letting it all wash over me. The satisfaction was so rich, I needed a spoon. Wow, I said. Who knew weddings could be so therapeutic? My dad chuckled again, tired but real. You know, part of me's proud of you. I blinked. Come again. I mean, don't get me wrong. Your delivery was dramatic, but someone had to say it, and no one else had the guts. That silenced me. For once, I didn't know what to say. But he wasn't done. Just try not to burn everything down next time, okay? No promises, I said, grinning, but I'll consider it. He sighed. That's the most I'll get from you, isn't it? Yup. We hung up a few minutes later, and I just sat there for a while, coffee cold, phone buzzing every few minutes, the morning sun peeking through the blinds. And yeah, maybe what I did was over the top. Maybe it was petty. Maybe it was a little ruthless. But it was real. I was done pretending. Done playing the quiet, smiling sibling who just let people walk all over her for the sake of peace. Peace was overrated. Truth? That was where the power lived. Apparently, Karen had already suspected something was off about her. My little revelation? It was just the final straw. By the time the reception wrapped up, Karen had practically disowned Karen. And the groom? Absolutely livid. He'd been under the impression that Karen and his mom had a solid relationship. He had no idea Karen had been bad-mouthing her behind her back. Finding out like that, in front of everyone, wasn't exactly ideal for a brand new marriage, according to my dad. He and Karen had a massive fight that night. And I mean massive, the kind where maybe we should rethink this whole marriage gets thrown around. As for my parents, they were caught smack in the middle of it. My mom tried to do damage control, but Karen wasn't having any of it. She blamed my mom for raising a spoiled brat and told her flat out that she didn't want Karen anywhere near her family again. Total fallout, no survivors. So what's the situation now? I asked, honestly curious. Dad sighed again. Karen as well, not handling it well. I roll my eyes, shocker. She's blaming you for everything, he continued. She says if you hadn't said anything, none of this would have happened. I laughed out loud. Oh, of course she does. Heaven forbid she actually take responsibility for anything. Dad was quiet for a moment. Then he said, she wants you to apologize. I nearly choked on my coffee. Apologize? She thinks it's the only way to fix things, he said, that if you just take the blame, Karen might forgive her and things could go back to normal. I couldn't stop laughing. Yeah, that's not happening. I figured, Dad said, then a bit quieter, and honestly, I don't think you should anyway. That actually made me pause. Wait, seriously? I told you, Mike, I saw what happened, and maybe it's about time someone finally called her out. That hit deeper than I expected. I didn't say anything for a moment. So what now? I asked. Dad sighed again. Your mom's still trying to smooth things over with Karen, but I don't think it's going to work. Karen's furious. The groom? He's barely talking to Karen. He hesitated. And Karen, well, she's a mess. Good. I didn't say it out loud, but I wasn't going to lie to myself about how I felt. My sister had spent years making me feel like an afterthought, like I wasn't good enough, like I didn't belong. And now she was finally facing the consequences of her own behavior. It was long overdue. Anyway, Dad said, just thought you should know what's going on. Your mom's probably going to try calling you again. She can try, I said with a shrug. I'm not answering. Dad let out a small laugh. Can't say I blame you. And that was that. It's been a few weeks since the wedding, and honestly, I haven't spoken to my sister since. She still refuses to own up to anything, still blames me, still thinks I should be the one to fix it all. But I won't. I don't regret a single thing. If anything, I'm proud of it. As for the marriage, well, let's just say I wouldn't be shocked if it doesn't last much longer. So what do you think? Was I being petty? Should I have just played nice? Or did my sister finally get exactly what she deserved? I'll wait. I could use a good laugh.